Hello, Wellness Check Wednesdays community. We wanted to take a moment to remind you that while our podcast serves as a safe space for open discussions and sharing experiences, we are not mental health experts. This podcast is a platform for you to express your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a judgment-free zone. Our aim is to foster connection, provide support, and create a sense of community. It's crucial to acknowledge that we are not a substitute for professional mental health advice or treatment. If you or someone you know is dealing with mental health challenges, we strongly encourage seeking guidance from qualified professionals. Remember, reaching out to mental health experts can make a significant difference. If you ever feel the need, don't hesitate to connect with a licensed therapist, counselor, or healthcare professional.
This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, a share space, a judgment-free zone, a place to meet and discuss our mental health. So let's check in.
Well. Episode 40. Episode 40. This is a milestone for the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. And we encourage each and every one of you every Wednesday and also every day to let's check
in.
Oh man, I'm excited for today. I want to start off first by acknowledging 9/11, 23 years ago, the attack on the Twin Towers, the flight out to Pennsylvania, and the attack on the Pentagon. It's 23 years ago, reminding everyone to never forget that was a time where a tragedy hit this country, and we came together as one like we have not done before, and it's more important now, more than ever, that we come together as a country, especially. And part of this episode dives right into that. So before we get into this week's episode, as you already know, my name is Brian Livingston. I am the moderator here at the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. I try to keep things on the track, but I sometimes get off the track myself. Hey, it is what it is.
Things happen, things happen.
But yes. I would like to introduce the originators of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, starting off by way of Cleveland, Ohio, my man, Edwin Vereen. What's going on?
What's going on, man? I will say this, man, September, this last 4 months of the year, I tend to have my head on a swivel. I'm watching everything because the September 7th marked the 29th anniversary of the passing of my father. I'm like, damn, it's been damn near 30 years already. So I'm just thinking about that. And his birthday is later on this month as well, too. Also, what's going on in September? As you mentioned early, September 11th, 9/11. We shall never forget that. It's a moment, a very, very tragic moment. I remember where I was. I was in Miss Porter's class. I think I was going to the bathroom or doing some shenanigans in high school. And then once I saw that, and I knew things weren't going to be the same after that. But other than that, I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. I'm smiling, busy, setting boundaries, and trying to make it happen.
I greatly appreciate it. I did get word from the other originator, Kevin Marshall. He's running a little bit late, but he will be joining us shortly on this episode. So we're going to travel a little bit all the way out to Oklahoma to bring in my man Brad. Brad, how you doing today, bro?
Good. Kind of facing some work challenges today, but I will definitely make it on through. And then as you mentioned, like never forget. I still remember where I was to this day on September 11, 2001. I was heading to class in college, and I turned on the Today Show, and I'm like, oh, what's this new movie? Man, that plane hit that building hard. I was like, wait a minute, this ain't no trailer. What? And then you started hearing people screaming in the dorm, and campus was just crazy. And yeah, it was one of those days I will never ever forget as long as I live. Never forget that day.
And it was definitely something that shook our nation to its core. Man, I was sophomore year in college at the United States Naval Academy. I was in physics class, and the student lounge was right next door. So you're hearing all this commotion outside the door because there's a TV there. And I'm just like, Professor, can I be excused to go to the head, go to the restroom? And I walked out just to be nosy. Sure enough, second plane is flying into the Twin Towers. And next thing you know,
Wow.
you hear over the one MC, all midshipmen report back to barracks, all midshipmen report back to the barracks. Threat level, such I do not remember. I think it was like threat level orange. All classes are canceled for the day. And yeah, a
Mm.
lot would happen. Cell towers were all tied up. I had family in DC. And then we heard about the Pentagon attack, and Pentagon is only 30 minutes away from Annapolis. And I'm like, what is really going on? And a lot happened that day. So to our first responders, members of the military, and all those that life was affected after that unfaithful day. Our respects, our prayers, our love goes out to you and all of the families that were affected. Well,
Mhm.
when it comes to that, that is a next level when it comes to our mental health. But there was a momentous event that happened yesterday, and I know this episode will not appear until the 18th next week, but we're talking about it now on the 11th, and we faced this especially last night and on today, where we are talking about an election year and our mental health, navigating the challenges of an election year. We all know that every 4 years, I mean, there's an election of some sort on the local level, state level, whatever, every year, but it's something different when it comes to those every 4 years when it comes to a presidential election. And I feel it more now than ever. I don't know if this is the fact that we're now more, I mean, we're more adult than we were 4 years ago, of course. Things matter a little bit more to us. And so we pay attention and hear it more. I don't know if that may be the case. Could that be the nature of like society that we live in now? That have we come more divided than we were 20 years ago when we were just in the infant stages of our adult lives? Or there's so many questions that go into it. But it's definitely the writings on the wall, the elephant in the room, that there are certain challenges that come with an election year, people's passion, what people care most about. People become more opinionated, all the things that go along with supporting their candidate. I am going to take this time to pass the mic over to my man Edwin Vereen. He does some research about each and every topic and brings in some nice literature and research that goes along with the topic. I will pass sir, the floor is yours.
Brian, thank you. I appreciate it for giving me this time. How I came up with this topic, I had a conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and the topic was, and we talked about an election year. Now, I really don't talk about politics like that because it's one of the world's most polarizing topics. You want to start a fight, you talk about politics and religion. I tend to keep my views and everything to myself. You know, people try to talk to me about it. I'm like, hey man, if it works for you, you do you. All right, because yeah, you just do you. You do you. Um, and I revert back to 2020. If it taught me anything, is to not be surprised what you hear from people and what they believe and all that, right? So the person I was talking to, we were talking like, well, people start acting a little different when an election year comes around. They didn't really understand it, what I meant by that, because they saw it from a financial standpoint. People spending money. You're going to spend money regardless, but you might be extra careful with your coins during an election year because there may be something that one candidate might strike your interest, and that may affect your money because people, they vote on their best interest. So I gave my friend this article that I'm about to parts I'm about to read to it here to explain them why the impact of an election year from a psychological standpoint, and it goes a little something like this. It is by Michelle Lino, PhD, from the Minds Matters, and it was reviewed by Libel Ma, all right, or Libel Ma. Hope I didn't butcher your name, I promise, all right. It says, and it's on Psychology Today, aka Eddie's favorite website, of course. The psychological impact of an election year. Now, the key points of this particular document, it says social media can amplify stress and anxiety during election years. The 24-hour news cycles and sensationalism contribute to emotional distress. Political discussion with others can strain personal relationships. Hence 2020, just like I said a few minutes ago. Effective strategies include setting media boundaries when it comes to practicing self-care. All right, so here it is. The article says this year, 2024, is an election year in the US. And as another eventful election day quickly approaches, people are already feeling the negative effects on their mental health. During an election year, the constant bombardment of political news and social media updates can take a significant toll on mental health. As individuals strive to stay informed, the relentless cycle of information often leads to heightened stress and anxiety. That's what I was trying to get at with the person I was having this conversation with, but for some reason, I just couldn't get there. So I said, here, I'm gonna give you this and I'm gonna let you read it. Whether you read it or not, it's all on you, but I'm putting it there for you. All right, and so scrolling down this article, it talks about such thing as the role of social media. Social media platforms offer instant updates and a forum for public disclosure. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Making them indispensable during election years. However, this constant stream of information can also amplify stress and anxiety. During the last election, a 2020 Pew Research study found that 55% of U.S. adults said they felt worn out by political posts and discussions. Social media often creates an echo chamber where users are exposed primarily to viewpoints that reinforce their own in an environment that intensifies emotions and fosters a polarized atmosphere. In a similar survey, 64% of Americans felt that social media platforms contributed to a divided society. So let's just scroll down a little bit more. That's the gist of it. It also talks about news consumption and its psychological effects, about how it can, while staying informed is important, a relentless flow of information can overwhelm people, leading to increased stress and anxiety. Studies have shown continuous exposure to news, particularly negative coverage, can have a profound mental health impact. News anchors and pundits play a significant role in shaping public perception during elections. Their opinions and assumptions can blur the line between objective reporting and sensationalism. Big word there. Often heightening viewers' emotional responses. This constant bombardment of analysis and speculations can create a sense of uncertainty and distress, making it difficult for individuals to maintain a balanced perspective. Because you got one side, the other side, but then you have the truth. So doom scrolling, I like this term. Doom scrolling is the compulsive consumption of negative news has become common behavior, especially during election years. That can exacerbate anxiety and depression, along the study. So, and it says other contributing factors. So let's go ahead and scroll all the way down to preventing election burnout, and I'll read it as such. All right. While election years can be mentally and emotionally taxing, there are ways to help manage this, like with any stressful situations we experience. Set boundaries with social media. Limit daily social media use to specific times to take regular breaks from social media, especially during peak election news periods. Me, I watch the news one time of the day when I get up in the morning, and then I change the TV to Sports Center because I can't have that in my mind. It'll just, no, I can't do that. It's bad for business. Practice mindful news consumption. Choose reliable sources and avoid sensationalist media. Just like social media, set specific times to check news updates and limit the amount of time spent watching or reading the news each day. Engage in self-care. Establish a self-care routine, including activities that promote relaxation and well-being. Practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness techniques such as meditation or deep breathing exercises. Make sure you're getting plenty of sleep, the proper nutrition, and exercise to maintain physical health. That's why your boy been back in that gym, but for health reasons as well too. Seek support. To cope with election-related stress, you may want to seek professional help to discuss your feelings. Also, try to engage in positive social interactions to counterbalance the negativity of political discourse. Cultivate perspective. Remind yourself that it's okay to take a step back from political discussions. Focus on aspects of your life that you can control and you can influence. Acknowledge that it's normal to feel overwhelmed, that taking breaks is beneficial for your mental health. All right, so when you get a chance, I want everyone that's within the sound of my voice, Be Live will post a link in the description box, and it's a very good article to read. I see it like this. Like I said earlier, when I wake up in the morning, say my prayers, get my cup of coffee, I watch the news. I probably give it about good 35 to 40 minutes. And after that, it's right on the sports center. At work, there may be some people that might try to talk about politics. Me, I just kind of have a face like, okay, okay. Well, you think about this, what you think about that? I'm like, I really don't have an opinion on it. I do, but you don't need to know it. It's none of your business. You know what I'm saying? Mind your damn business. Did your mom teach you mind your business? Like, like we don't want to, I don't want to be like, oh, well, you hate him, I hate him too. No, no, I'm an individual. I got my mind. Let me make my choice on who I want to vote. Let me do me. How about that? Um, and like I said, once again, 2020 made me realize, like, look, you can, like, when you go to those local news sites, national news sites, it's straight filth. It's straight garbage. Nothing. The bad outweighs the good. Everybody's finger wagging. Everybody's mad. Everybody's not trying to hear each other out. So what I did, I just went ahead and just unfollow, unfollow, unfollow. Election years are times where you have to protect your mental health. You have to. You have to, because you're gonna run yourself nuts. Just because some people, I've noticed, they get real emotional about it, about certain topics, about certain policies, about certain comments. He did this and she did that. Well, he didn't do this and he didn't do that. I'm like, whatever happened to just everybody working together for one common goal? Like whatever happened to that? That's in a perfect world. That's how I would like it. I just, just religion and politics, they cause a nasty divide. And so when it comes to talking politics, publicly, you won't hear it from me, not on this social media platform. You forget about it. It's not going to happen. I know who I want to vote for, why I want to vote for, what policies impact me, and that's that. Brad, what say you?
Amen. So he might. Oh,
Sorry about that. I was trying to do the unmute button. It wouldn't unmute, but
The mute
man,
button got stuck.
it got stuck. It really did. Yeah. So for me, oh my gosh, during election years, these do tend to be the most stressful times because, like, I'm not gonna like dig deep into, red, blue, all that good stuff, but I will say that every place I've lived has been red. So you live in that environment and you hear so many things and you see people's true colors come out. And I'm just like you, Eddie. I don't like talking about politics because that's the one way to get either people riled up or anything else can occur during this. And so a lot of people lose friendships over it. I was like, man, this is worse than sports, but it's pretty rough. And the way that it taxes on the mental health, because you see these two sides constantly going at it, jockeying for position, trying to pull your votes and things like that. And you hear a lot of great sense, and then you hear a lot of egregious things from both sides. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like who do you believe? You know, who do you believe? Like, what do you believe? Are they really going to change a policy for you, or are they going to tell you, you know, people are out here, you know, eating your cats and dogs in the streets,
Or
things like which by the way, that was one of the craziest things I have ever heard in a presidential debate in all my years of living and paying attention to those things. That's the wildest thing I have ever heard. You
Wild.
know, yeah, and it can take a toll on your mental health because you know you got these people, you know, that aren't very mentally well, speaking on things that they really have little to no knowledge about, and that they're just going off of what they hear on the television. And you're like, oh gosh, you get all your sources from, and your news and your info from just this one source. It's pretty rough. So
Very.
I seek solace and try to find out things from both sides. And I just say, you know what? Y'all argue this out. I'll just be over here watching Dynamite, and I just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
we tend to find our places of peace. And then I had an argument the other day in a sports group that is the one particular, and I'm an admin in the sports group, mind you. So it's this other person, and this she constantly wants to bring up politics. I'm like, this is the one place I try to go to that I don't want to talk about politics. Why, and why? So I mean, I could go into depth into that. I'm thankful to have our other originator, Kevin, joining the program with us. He finally made it in.
I snuck in.
Yeah, he snuck in and thought that the time in the world revolves around him. I said we're gonna keep it rolling. But Kevin, if you could, we're talking about the election year and boom, 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 the effect on mental health, navigating through all this mess. And I see we do have a special guest. Kevin, I'm gonna give you the mic, give you a chance to introduce and as well opine on this subject.
All right. First and foremost, election years, election years, election years. Where can you start? It's almost like y'all have said about it can become a national debate. It could become one of those things to where you lose family members, friends, loved ones, all of the above. But it comes in the ploy that, like AD just said, can you actually really take the time to source through and find out like what fits you? What helps you in your mental state? What helps you in more so a sense of like, okay, if this guy is saying this but's doing this and he's supposed to become some type of leader, it comes into a ploy like, do you follow the leader? Do you constantly become an individual? And like I always say, Trump was to me a, how can I put this? He could never word his words properly, but a business aspect and a business mind, he had one of the better brilliant minds on the work
Mm.
ethic and blue collar side of it. But
Kev, before we continue, because one thing we don't want to do, we don't want to talk about our own personal views. We're just talking about the mental
Mm.
health aspect of it
Okay.
because you know we that turns into debates and all
Right,
kinds
right,
of stuff.
all right.
But yeah, just really like
Okay. Let me
yeah,
rewind this
I got you
just
on
a
that.
little bit. It going in on that aspect, it more so, how can I look at this? How can I say it? It more so comes into a factor of like what's going to affect my lifestyle, what's going to affect me providing a home, what's going to affect me from being successful. And when I say successful, it means also dealing with success and also dealing with failures. Which which one is it that my brain's all over the place, y'all? I'm
It's
freezing.
it's so
Just a little bit. It's all good. You try to
well,
put it together.
and like I say, and just really what more than anything that we're trying to opine on how this particular time, especially like yesterday, we had the presidential debate. There
Right.
was all kinds of things being said. You can go down your all of your socials right now, and that's all you see, and everybody's opinionated.
Right.
How do
Mhm.
you, in particular, deal with all that opinion and people taking sides and can't get off of just this, that, and the conversations change. People talk about all kinds of stuff in places that they ain't supposed to. And you start seeing, yeah, that's really what we're just how to navigate through all of it.
Okay.
How does it affect you from a mental health standpoint? How does it impact your mental health?
Okay. Now that I have a clear pinpoint topic.
Okay, there we go.
Me personally, I find isolation because I don't want to deal with opinionated people who are so strong that they don't want to listen to outside criticism. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where it comes into play. I'm going to ISO myself from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to find my self peace to me. And before we run out of time, this is a lifelong friend, a hooping brother. We played ball on the courts together, Fayetteville.
Yes, sir.
Rob.
Hey man, how y'all doing, man? Owner of Hustle Man Podcast, man. It's an honor to be on here, be amongst people, like-minded people. I was just saying, man, for me, with the presidential debate, it's like a boxing match. You know what I'm saying? It gets ugly. And just by seeing people, how it divides people all the time, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like you want to be in your own corner, but people always try to target you. Like, how do you feel about the presidential debate? I don't, I go vote and keep it to myself. You know what I'm saying? Because if you say it out loud, it's just like, oh man, you're wrong about that. And then you got the churchy, uppity people
Oh God.
that come and grab you and be like, well, you shouldn't vote for this Cheeto man, and we gonna be all in slavery and everything. We're out here doing what we want to do, you know what I'm saying, at this point in time. And we just gotta adapt with the times, you know what I'm saying? Do what we gotta do for ourselves, defend for ourselves, and you know what I'm saying, make our own money at the end of the day. And that's what I'm learning. I mean, no diss to the people that do the 9 to 5s and everything like that, but it's just, if you stay in your own corner, you won't have to deal with the opinionated people.
Well,
that is true. Real quick, I know we kind of pressed for time. People they're just so damn extreme about it. Real quick, I'm gonna say this because I know this individual does not listen to this podcast. As someone I work with, they've so deep into it, and we have a fantasy football league.
Oh.
And my team is named Lit Matches. Somebody's team is named something else. Somebody's team is named something else. This dude come bust up on the scene. F insert presidential candidate here. I'm like, come on, man. You can't think of no better name. He's like, oh, well, I know there's some supporters in the group. Really? Do you know that? How old are you, man? It's like, I look at it like this, and I'm gonna make it short. It's the classic case of I got to have it. It has to be known that my disdain for this individual. I have to tell you every chance I get. I don't care if I put it on this fancy football team. I don't care. You're gonna know how I feel about that presidential candidate. Hey, guess what, buddy? I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Like you could have, and every time his name pop up on the damn screen with a message notification, I'm like, I almost want to tell him, hey, can't you name your team Roadkill Cafe or Dirt Road Dobblers or something like that, man, instead of just F this presidential candidate? It's not uncomfortable to me. Like, I could care less, but it's just like, I don't want to see this all the damn time. Like, bro, come on, you're a grown ass man, bro. Cut it out. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're good with it. But yeah, we got.
I gotta tell him, no, the hell you don't. Sit your ass down.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes. Yeah.
Well, it comes into play too, and Rob said a really good point that people don't adapt with the times. People get so opinionated to where they get stuck in one certain way of living that sometimes that problem can become a hindrance to either their mental health or outside people's mental health because they try to get so persuasive and they try to push that point and try to do this and try to do that. Whereas you got to adapt. Like mental health, if we think about this, mental health on the platform that we're trying to push and strive for, to where 20 years ago, where was this thought at? Where was this idea at to where, yeah, sometimes we might divvy from topics and talk about a little bit of wrestling, talk about a little bit of basketball, talk about a little bit of football, but we're showing ourselves that, we're not a generational curse of we're men, we have to be strong, we have to do this, we have to do that, to where what society wants us to be, whether it's a president saying it or whether it's, somebody's opinion of what the election holds. Like,
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's a couple things that I get in each time, each year it comes out, and how people. I mean, hey, that's the beautiful thing about free speech. Say what you want, believe what you want to. It is only thing I can control is how I take it. I can't control anybody else, how they think about it, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, I can only control what I can control. And that's what I try to tell everybody and everybody else. Take care of what you could take care of. Mind the business that pays you, drink your water, et cetera, et cetera.
That's it.
And one very famous quote that I use a lot in my own mental state when it comes to, especially when it comes to an election year, and I'm going to close with this. Maya Angelou said it, this very famous quote: when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
I told it. Tell it.
Have your opinion. I'm gonna take a mental note. I'm gonna keep it moving, and we're gonna decide. But man, some people, y'all done lost your damn minds. Don't let this divide us even further. At the end of the day, we're on this mental health journey together. We're at this point in time. Zoom's about to kick us off. Every single week, thank you all for joining us here at the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. We have one common goal here, the Wellness Check Wednesday, mental health. And so we always encourage each and every one of y'all to
Let's
check
in. Catch y'all next week.
Yeah.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Please join us every week, Wednesdays on Zoom at 6 p.m., and join our Facebook group for updates and to participate. We care about your mental health, so let's check in.